everybody. I'm still alive. I'm still here. I still exist, and things are so wonderful. It has been 3 weeks since I posted a video, so I apologize that I have not been on this bump date every week like I wanted to be. We did move into a new house, and that has been taking up the majority of my time, along with trying to keep up with the moving and my clients. So I've been trying to make sure to stay on top of those. And I will be doing a video about the house that we're moved into. We actually bought a house for the first time. It's our first house, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to be doing a walkthrough for you guys sometime this coming week, as long as I get all the stuff that I want put away. So yeah, that's the majority of the reason why I have not done a video. Also, I'll be getting a new phone soon and hopefully a new camera so that I can do videos and not have to do them on my phone. I am not a fan of the iPhone. I know that there are people that either love Apple products or love the Samsung products. And I have been using this iPhone for 4 months, and I am a fan of my old phones. Even though the quality and the sound quality on this phone is better, I'll be getting an actual camera that I can put on a tripod so I don't have to hold. So all of this stuff is just up and coming, and a lot of things are happening. But this video is going to be my 12-week bump date, and so I'm super excited. I have so much to catch you guys up on. So right at 9 weeks and 4 days, I had my first OB visit. So right after I did my last bump date, I went in and I had my first OB visit. That was the following Monday. Everything went so well. I was stressing out the whole time. I stress out when I have to go to any office, any doctor's office, get any kind of treatments or anything. Doesn't matter. I freak out because I'm not used to being in that environment, so it's very difficult for me to not stress out and act weird. So when I got there, my blood pressure was, of course, hypertensive. It was high, and she was very worried about that because it was the highest that she'd ever seen it. It had been high in the hypertensive area before, and if they have it on record that my blood pressure is hypertensive 3 times in a row, then they have to transfer my care because they do not deliver at the Birth and Wellness Center if you have hypertension or if you have gestational diabetes or if you have basically any issues at all that would require you to be on any kind of medication. You don't deliver there. So I totally understand that. It was a very long visit. She explained a lot of stuff to us. It was our first one, so she went over all the genetic testing and see if we wanted to do any of that. And she wanted to make it, very clear about what the process would be if my blood pressure stays high, yada yada yada. And then she's like, "I'll take it again at the end of the appointment." So she did my vaginal exam, and she felt the uterus growing right away and was like, "Okay, there's where that is. That's all good signs." She took my urine, and they took a bunch of blood. So, and then we talked a bunch, and then we got to hear the baby's heartbeat for the first time. Now, I was 9 weeks and 4 days, and she was like, "I'm going to try and see if we can hear the heartbeat, but don't hold your breath because usually we can't hear the heart tones through the Doppler for well into the 10th week." And I was like, okay, no big deal, but my first thought was like, "You're going to hear it." That was my feeling on it, was that we were going to hear it. And sure enough, as soon as she put it on there, it took her maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and she found the heartbeat, and my husband and I just had this moment. It was an amazing moment there in the doctor's office of just I was so high. I felt so high. And the look on my husband's face was just so amazing that we were actually got to hear the heartbeat and know that it was alive. That was just such an amazing moment for us. So at the end of the visit, my blood pressure had actually dropped down to a normal range, and it was such a drop that she thought maybe they used the wrong blood pressure cuff, or that maybe something was wrong with the machine they used, because it literally, the top number dropped over 37 points and the bottom number dropped 10 points, and she was like, "That's crazy." And I said, "Well, this is my normal blood pressure. Every time I get it checked, even when I went to the dentist in March, my blood pressure was 130 over 78. And I was like, that's normal for me." So it was 130 over 85. And even though the 85 was still a little high, when I came in the first time, it was 95. So that concerned her a little bit, but we did discuss it, and I told her that I would feel better if I transferred my care anyway, because I don't want to have the added stress of worrying about when I'm going to get transferred or if I'm going to get transferred because my blood pressure is too high. So instead of having to add that onto it, she recommended where I should go, and I'm going to be doing a video on the Women's Birth and Wellness Center in Chapel Hill and my experiences there, and then also my views on labor and delivery and on hospitals and my experiences and things like that. And then I'll be talking about where I'm getting transferred to. So at that initial visit, we decided we were going to transfer my care, but we did fill out the paperwork to get my first ultrasound. So I had my first OB visit at 9 weeks and 4 days, and then I tried getting my ultrasound, and I'll explain all of the chaotic stuff that happened in my video about the Birth and Wellness Center and about my experience. But needless to say, I didn't get my first ultrasound until I was 11 weeks and 2 days. I was supposed to have it within a few days, and that did not happen. But in the process, we were closing on our house and everything. And we closed on our house, and we had our doctor appointment. It was back to back, and then we had all this paperwork to fill out, and then we had to move. And this all happened back to back. And as soon as right before we were getting all of our stuff moved that weekend, we got our ultrasound also. And that was an awesome experience. I will be putting in the ultrasound pictures and my first belly shot at the end of the video. So keep in mind, my belly looks exactly the same as it did when I got pregnant. I have gained 4 pounds throughout this process, and my belly isn't showing yet. So keep that in mind when you watch the video. That wonderful thickness on my gut is that layer of fat that's been there for a while. But I want to do it now so that I can have it all on record. Okay, so I went in to get my ultrasound, and the ultrasound tech was so nice. And because I was going through the Birth and Wellness Center, they are allowed to talk about everything that comes up on the ultrasound. So if anything had been wrong, we would have discussed it right then and there. And otherwise, everything that was right, we also got to discuss, which actually made me feel a lot better, because I know that's not policy in most hospitals. They don't do that. They're not authorized to do that. They don't have permission to do that or whatever, for liability reasons and whatnot. So I was really happy that she had the authorization to talk about everything and anything going on with the baby at my ultrasound. And I've been to many ultrasounds, and I've watched a ton of ultrasounds because I just love them. They're so fascinating to me. That I love to watch them. And this was the first time that I got to have an ultrasound and see a baby inside of me. And it was an amazing experience. It was such an amazing experience. And it was an amazing experience for my husband and I both. And the technician took a ton of pictures for us. And I went in at 11 weeks and 2 days, and the baby was measuring 11 weeks and 4 days. Which I thought was awesome, because she was measuring just a couple of days ahead. And that means that we conceived her on my birthday, which was March 3rd, which I don't know why, but something about that just like makes me super happy inside, because I love how that sounds to me. I love that. And I thought that was great. So my weeks will be rolling over on Monday. We are keeping my due date of the last week of November. And yeah, I'm hoping that she doesn't come on Thanksgiving. I hope it's before Thanksgiving or after. I would be okay with December 1st or December 2nd. I think that would be fantastic. Have a 12, 1, 14 baby. That would be awesome. But anyway, it was a great experience, and I will be putting my pictures in. So I'll be doing my bump dates on Mondays now, which I think is great because Wednesdays was not working out for me, obviously, since it's been 3 weeks now. So yeah, that was awesome. I'm in the process of trying to get all my paperwork transferred over, and I'm fighting my wonderful printer technology over here in the office. As far as symptoms, okay, so between week 9 and week 12, the baby is now the size of a plum, and here she is 2 inches long and almost weighs half an ounce. And I can start to feel her now. Like she's coming up above my pubic bone. And so I feel it. And when I sit down and my pants push on her, like I feel it inside. Like it gets really uncomfortable and I have to move around. Which I thought was really cool because I use my fetal Doppler monitor almost every day, and I can find her heart every day. I've not been able to not find it yet, and she's starting to come up higher, which I'm really excited about because I hear the heart clearer. That's been awesome. As far as my symptoms, like I said, I can start to feel it come up higher. I'm not feeling any fetal movement yet, but I can't wait because I know on the ultrasound she was just like kicking and thrashing around. She wasn't flipping or rolling over, but she was like kicking and flailing, and it was really adorable. Of course, what mother doesn't say that about their babies inside them? But as far as symptoms, I pretty much feel 100%. I don't feel sick all the time. I notice that I feel sick when I like feel down or I have a bad day, or if I'm really stressed, then my stomach will start acting up. It's not like nausea, but it's like it was before where it just doesn't feel good all day. But I've only had a couple of those days. I'm off the antibiotics now, so I'm hoping that my other skin stuff goes down because I know that that was a result of the antibiotics. Which I haven't talked about the antibiotics yet. So the pimples have gone down. I'm only breaking out in a couple here and there now, which makes me super happy. And my entire back and my shoulders have all dried out, like super dried to like itchy, flaky dry. And so my husband's been putting lotion on my back. And I think that's about it for symptoms. Oh my gosh. Pregnancy brain. How could I forget about this? So I am such a space cadet anymore that it bothers me. I cannot form a sentence, and I think I talked about this in my last bump date, but it's still just crazy how I forget things all the time. This is luckily my only second attempt for this video. The first one I had all of my dates wrong and all of my levels wrong, and it was just terrible when I was watching it. And I was like, man, I have to redo that because I didn't notice that I was messing all this stuff up. But I blame it on the pregnancy brain. I will be thinking about somebody, and then someone will ask me a question about exactly what I had been repeating in my head, and it will leave my head. And if I have a strong emotion, which I'm feeling emotions like way stronger now, if I have an emotion, I can't think. I can't have a logical thought, and I can't answer a question if I'm in a high emotional state. I've been a little weepy here and there this week. Nothing too major. I think a lot of it is the stress of moving and the stress of all the doctor's appointments and having to transfer all my stuff and get everything orchestrated. I'm trying to get my teeth taken care of too next month, which hoping that's going to work out. And then we have a housewarming party and a camping trip, and there's just so much going on. So I'll be doing a life update. One of the things that I forgot to mention, when all of my blood work came back, all of my levels were normal. My protein, my iron, all of that was normal. Cholesterol, yada yada. They checked me for like everything. The things that did come up, I had a vitamin D deficiency, so I'm now on vitamin D supplements. And apparently that's pretty common because I know a couple of my pregnant friends had this exact same issue and were on vitamin D supplements. And I'll probably talk a little bit about that in the video that I do with the Birth and Wellness Center. And I had an asymptomatic bladder infection. They don't know how long I had it, obviously, because I never complained of any symptoms. I was really shocked by this because I've never had something like that before where I just didn't know that I didn't have it. I've had UTIs, I've had yeast infections, I've had all kinds of stuff. I'm like, how the heck do I have a bladder infection and not even know it? Like, no symptoms of it. So they put me on antibiotics right away. Now, I cannot stand antibiotics because they mess my body up big time. And I was doing really, really great, and then they put me on antibiotics, and my skin got drier. I have a skin condition on my arm that has not been an issue since I've been pregnant, has not been an issue. I've not had any breakouts on my hands or arms, and as soon, like 2 days into that antibiotic, man, it just flared up really bad. So the whole time I was on antibiotics, my whole arm, broke out in these rashes. They're not like hives. It's a condition that I've had for several years now. It's in reaction to like dish soap and laundry soap and stuff like that. So if I wash dishes by hand too much, I will get, it's not quite like hives. It's under the skin and it's weird and it's really itchy. But that came back really aggressively because there was nothing, keeping it at bay. I was on some stuff for it before and it only worked. I was on a topical steroid for it before and it only worked while I was using the topical steroid, which is prescription only, and I can't use it anymore. Like, I'm pregnant, I can't use it. And I can't afford to go to the doctor every 2 weeks to get it refilled. So I just deal with it. But when I was on the antibiotics, it came back very aggressively and was very itchy. And then, of course, it messes up everything down south. Like, everything. Just itching and swelling and irritation so bad that I just wanted to go crazy. And so I was a very uncomfortable woman. And it's finally getting better now that I haven't been on the antibiotics for almost 3 days. It's finally getting better and manageable. But I have been very uncomfortable and not being able to sleep, and that was just miserable. But yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot about that. And those were the only two things that came up in my blood work and my urinalysis. So I was super excited. Everything else is great. The baby's great. I'm great. I am feeling great. And I have a new house to unpack and make my own, and a business to keep building. So yeah, everything is wonderful right now, and I hope that you all out there are doing amazing. I hope that you enjoy this bump date, and I will keep you all updated. I'll be doing my next video on Monday, and I'll be 13 weeks on Monday, which I'm so excited for. I feel like I've covered so many milestones, and yeah, it's been amazing. So, you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all next week. Peace.